Brady Mackey.
Marshall Gray. How are you?
You're a champion, mate.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
And you shared Testify quite some time ago, eh?
Yeah, it was October last year, from memory.
Yeah. So 10 minutes is not at all justice for God.
Unfortunately not. I think
No.
it goes a little bit deeper. But,
Yeah. But it does open people's hearts to be on the cover.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? You can't read a book by its cover.
No, absolutely.
10 minutes just opens the door.
Mm-hmm.
People are like, oh, wow. And now we've got
Time, space.
So, yeah, but introduce yourself, bit of background.
Sure.
You know,
fantastic.
where you born?
No, Brady Mackey, Patrick Mackey, if we want to
Come
get
on.
really specific.
BPM.
BPM. Fun fact: in year 2, I actually went around exactly. In year 2, I went around my school ground and said I was changing my name to Patrick. I was done with Brady.
Really?
Yeah. That's in year 2. I literally convinced half of my grade that my new name was Patrick, and then Mum obviously shut that down pretty quickly. But
some people live off their second name.
yeah, I know, and I wanted to, obviously, with my year 2 mind at the time, I was all for it, to be honest.
Let's go,
Paddy.
Paddy.
I really like Paddy Mackey. Like it.
That's pretty cool.
It worked pretty well in my year 2 mind, and it still works well now. So maybe we'll see. But no, Brady Patrick Mackey, 21 years of age, soon to be 22.
Come on.
Tall. You can't obviously see it here. But
6'4"?
6 almost touching.
Okay.
And according to Trent today, I think I'm still growing. So
wow.
Maybe that's just the time he was down south. But anyway, love Jesus, obviously, hence why I'm here.
Come on.
And then all things sport, I guess I can get around as well.
All things,
in particular golf. Don't mind it. Really nice.
See, I look at golf now.
We've had a round.
But I look at golf and I'm like, Mickelson?
Mickelson?
See,
Phil Mickelson, yeah.
Don't even know.
That's all right.
See, I'm probably the John Daly era.
Swing like him as well.
Wrap the golf club around my neck.
Oh. Yeah, and then there's all the front knee action as well. It's good.
Okay, golf. Golf's your sport of choice.
It was cricket for many a year, and it kind of ties into everything. But what was it? End of 2018, I kind of just said to myself, because I was working a full-time job and I didn't really want to spend all of my Saturday afternoon in the hot sunshine of the Gold Coast and driving up to the competition I was playing in at the moment, went all the way up to the sunny coast and out to Ipswich, Toowoomba as well. So
you didn't want to be silly mid on all day.
Nah, and going all that way to nick off third ball. In other words, that's you face 3 balls.
You're gone.
You're gone. You sit in the sheds in 40-degree weather for 6 hours watching your mates. It's it's fun for a time, but when you've got a life and a job and stuff, it kind of gets a little bit little bit tricky. So that's obviously where golf comes in, and
it's more achievable, right? More 3.5, 4 hours max.
Exactly right. You can play 7 times a week or
35 courses on the Gold Coast.
It's a lot, and I couldn't actually get on a tee time last Sunday for whatever reason. So everyone's coming out of lockdown and blowing out the golf webs, playing some golf. So
best round.
Best round. It was actually 2 weeks ago.
Come on,
77. So.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Off a 72 or 73?
72, par 3.
Flip.
Oh, sorry, 72 was the par, and 77. So, considering where I was 3 years ago, hitting 4 balls in the water consecutively at Talai, that was not fun. But yes, I just love the game. It's good.
That's cool. Good. So 77, that's only 5 over.
Yep, 5 over.
But what's your handicap at the moment?
6.6.
Okay, 6.6.
Yep, that was last, was it February, March?
Okay, strong point?
Strong point, I would say, is probably off the tee at the moment.
Okay.
I don't obviously have that bigger muscles, but
it's
all in rhythm and club head speed. That's the big thing, because if you got long levers, you can generate some decent power. And then I think cricket did help for kind of short game around the green and that kind of thing. It's a real touchy-feely type game. Very different to anything else I can compare it to, I don't think, because it's obviously, as you would know, when you've got a certain distance out, it's it's good. It makes
so your like 180 outs your worst part or your weakest part?
I would say probably 80 to 120, and you often find yourself in that place.
Yeah.
Anything under, I'm fine. Anything over, I've got a club for, but it's just that little dead space where I need to fix, and then who knows, might be down a little bit lower after.
Come on, 6.6. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Goals for golf?
Well, there's been some jokes floating around that I could put my hand up for 2032 at Royal Pines at the Olympics, but I think I've got a ways to go yet before, unless I was thinking today, actually, unless I ditch all social life after work and just go and hit golf balls for 3 hours, which I don't think I'm that keen for, to be honest. That's what it would take, and I was lucky enough actually to work with a guy who was sponsored by Strixon, which is one of the premier golf companies at Telstra when I was there, and about 12 months ago now. And I've seen and know what it takes, but I just don't think I'm willing. And obviously it links back to cricket as well, because it was getting to a point there around the kind of my end of schooling where it was touch and go as to whether I was going to progress and eventually make it. And the competitive taste, I guess, from that aspect of sport kind of left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, because with golf I've never competed in like a competitive sense, I guess. So I've always just loved going out, as I said.
Awesome.
Like once a week or 7 days a week.
Just your enjoyment.
It's just enjoyment.
Yeah, good.
100%.
Good. I went to a golf range last week with my son Zach, and we had a couple of hundred balls, and he had 110 of them. Loved it.
It's good. It's good.
The booth next to us. I won't say what nationality, but like a machine. Yeah, like a machine.
I can pick it.
Every drive,
just
same.
Dead center. Yeah.
Not much further, not much less. Just same.
It's all mechanics.
Yeah, mechanics. You're talking robotic.
Advice to any golfer that's looking to get into it, or potential golfer, just don't hit the ball 110%.
Yeah.
Just bring it back.
It was just mechanic, bro.
Yeah. And then it eventually becomes mechanic, and
then they, did the pitching wedge, mechanic, same distance,
same everything.
70, 70, 70, 70, 70. The whole, next club up.
And that's right there is why I'm not going to 2028.
Yeah, I was just like, wow, I'm inspired.
Good.
But at the same time, how many hours?
It's ridiculous.
Hey, you're talking.
And like even linking back to cricket, because towards like the time where I made the decision to stop playing, like I was playing with guys that are now playing in the Big Bash over summer and that kind of thing, and at the time they weren't even playing for state or Big Bash cricket.
Right.
And I was looking at them going, they are countless like ways, I guess, down the track than what I am. They're much better than what I am. And I put in, if not more work and more effort. I'm like, how much effort would I actually have to put in if you want to get there?
Yeah.
And obviously,
not prepared to pay that price.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you have to choose that, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Trying to fit at the time cricket union a full-time job in was quite tricky. So
wow.
Yeah. Hectic. Anyway.
So when you were growing up, were you like brought up in the church? Were you brought up around the whole God thing?
Yeah, I think I refer to it, which I've heard often used, but I think it's the best way to paint the picture in terms of I knew of God, I just didn't know God. I grew up in Brisbane, and it was like Mum in particular would frequently go to a church just up the road, and to be honest, all I wanted to do on Sunday mornings was just go out and kick the footy or play cricket in the street or something. Like I couldn't think of anything worse than finding myself in church or Sunday school or kids' church or whatever it was, because I just was thinking about everything else other than what was in front of me. And then
so how old
this
are you
was
from your memory?
I would have been 6, 7, 8, give or take. This was in Brizzy.
Siblings,
yeah. at that time, I had two, elder brother, elder sister,
Okay.
Ethan and Cassidy.
Right. And so they were dragged along?
They were, I can recall, back in Sunday school in Brizzy, drawing up Need for Speed pictures and playgrounds with my brother in the back of the class. I don't think the teacher was too happy, but she'd be pleased now. That's all I can say.
Well, that's right.
And then my sister, she, to her credit, was pretty instrumental when my mum was actually diagnosed with breast cancer in 2000. Or don't quote me on this, mum, if you're watching, but I think it was 2006, 2007. I was quite young at the time.
Right.
And mum obviously was diagnosed and very unwell for a time throughout the chemo period and that kind of thing. And Cass did frequently go to church with mum at the time, which was pretty amazing. And obviously I didn't really know how to process anything back then. So, but yeah, mum was quite heavily involved following that, and I guess during and following that.
Yeah.
But yeah, all along I'm kind of just like, again, I just wanted to play sport. Or
so you're not even a fringy. You're out. You're in the. Not even a fringe.
I knew a couple people. I went to a Christian school years 1, 2, and 3, and obviously it was taught and that kind of thing. And I would always say, I guess, that I was a Christian. I just don't think my actions would line up with that. And then, so then that was 2008. We moved down to the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Mum and Dad had since split.
Okay.
Finished up at I think it was year 5 at Trinity Lutheran College, and then I went to a state school, and pretty much as soon as I went to the state school, it was just Christianity was out the window, and that was that. So again, it was always kind of, I guess, I knew of God. It was just maybe I'll get there one day, type thing. Not really.
No attention. Not given any attention to this. No. You're not intrigued. You're not curious. It's just a thing.
Yeah,
there.
Just a thing. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. So I'd always say a nightly prayer here and there.
Sure.
If I've got a big cricket match or something the next day. I remember praying to God, I'm like, if I make 50 tomorrow, I'll be all in. I'll be all in. But obviously that.
So how many 50s did you make? A lot.
Yeah, a few.
Okay. And you still didn't go all in.
No.
So the prayers meant nothing.
They were just.
Okay.
Nothing.
There's nothing attached to it.
No.
Wow.
Depth.
Yeah.
No substance, I guess.
So you're cruising on in life. Mum and Dad aren't together, but you're living with your mum.
Mum and Dad obviously went together within about 2 and a bit years, I think. Dad had repartnered. Mum had remarried. In which that's obviously why I said I had 2 siblings at the time. I've now got 3 step siblings on my stepdad's side, obviously, all older than what I am, and then as Dad's repartnered, I've now got 3 younger half siblings. I guess I don't really like to use that term half and step because they're I've obviously been with them my whole life. Yeah. Exactly. So I'd spend we were kind of 7 days on, 7 days off with Mum and Dad, and then due to my stepdad's work, he works up in the mines west of Rockhampton.
Okay.
He was forced at the end of 2013, I think it was, to move up there because they changed his roster from what was 7 on, 7 off to kind of 3 days on, 5 days off, 4 days on, 3 days off. It was just messy.
Yeah.
So it was I guess a couple of years in the making for them because they were. They weren't really enjoying the Gold Coast that much anymore. They made the decision to move up to Yeppoon, which is a little coastal town on the east coast of Australia, about 9 hours away from the Gold Coast. So that was end of 2013. And I was in year 9 or year 10 at the time. And obviously when Mum went away, that was kind of my only real lasting Christian influence that I had around me. And it was just a phone call once every week or two that we'd chat over.
So you then permanently with your dad?
Permanently with Dad.
Okay,
exactly.
So the phone call's Mum, I'm doing awesome.
Doing great.
Son, are you praying? Yeah, Mum. You reading your Bible, son?
I'm doing...
yes, Mum.
I don't think she was that forefrontish, but she was always...
you been to church, son?
She was definitely inquiring about it.
Okay.
I kind of just...
yeah.
It'd just be a playoff. And at the time as well, my brother and and my sister were both pretty involved with the church on the coast. But again, I was kind of in the boat of everything else in my life is going pretty well. Why would I need to go?
Great, yeah,
to church.
I get it.
And yeah, I just and whenever I'd go up to Yeppoon, for example, to visit mum just on school holidays and that kind of thing, I'd find every reason to not go to church on a Sunday morning. And when I did go, I was just looking at these people raising their hands and singing and praising, and I'm just like, what is going on? I don't get this.
Almost cynical, or cynical, or just like what a waste of time.
I'd think a kind of a foot in both camps. It was like I think I kind of understood, but it obviously wasn't until later that I really understood.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just, to me, it was just weird. And I guess the culture that I'd grown up in, and obviously a state high school, and the norm is partying, drugs, alcohol, that kind of thing. That's very normal, and this is obviously
this is weird.
This is abstract. And yeah, it was tricky to get my head around.
Just can't relate to me.
No, not at all. Not at all, because it felt as if it's so far out there that I'm like, again, why would I need to do this? Why would I need to give my life to this God if I know one day I'm going to heaven because I've said a prayer once? And that was kind of my thought. Yeah, I guess.
So what age are you? Like 15, 16?
That would have been
17, maybe.
Yeah, 13 through to 16.
Okay.
And at the time, obviously, I was still playing cricket. And
yep.
Doing my best with that, and yeah, back to the partying and the drugs and the alcohol that I was mentioned. I didn't really involve myself much with it, to be honest, until towards the latter end of year 12. Purely because obviously Saturdays and Sundays involved cricket. So whenever the parties were going on, I wouldn't go along typically because I'd have
sports day the next day.
Exactly. I want to make sure I'm in the
prime.
The prime
rested.
Best. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Good. I know the feeling.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which in hindsight probably worked against me because I was caring too much about what was going on between my ears. But anyway, it's hindsight.
So you're fitting in at school.
Yeah.
You're in the party scene, but on the edge.
Yeah, and I guess I'm obviously quite an outgoing character, so I got along pretty much with everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
And everyone respected my decision because obviously I was had games and that kind of thing on the weekend. But that's a bit out there. But yeah, so they all respected my decision, obviously, and I'd tag along here and there and have a couple drinks. But obviously nothing substantial. And I guess in a way people respected me for that because I was obviously passionate about something else. But it wasn't until the end of year 12 that I kind of realised that cricket wasn't going to continue. And then that's when I started to really indulge in that scene. So
wow. So what did that look like?
It looked like rocking up to my valedictory walk completely off my face.
What?
Yeah, it's quite obviously a contrast, I guess, to the person you see now. But yeah, valedictory walk, formal.
Off your nut.
Formal. I was, and I'd never really been drunk before, I guess. And then this obviously, it was new and it was exciting, and I'm like, this is fun. So yeah, I was pretty not in the best state, put it that way.
Wow.
Which obviously followed a week in Gold Coast schoolies.
Oh wow!
And then a week after that in Fiji schoolies, in which I remember
Fiji schoolies.
Yeah, so a couple of us friends from high school decided to go to Fiji, which was an experience. I almost owe my life to one of the boys there that saved my head from hitting the side of a pool as I was about to slip and crack my head. Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't good, and the beating the bartender in a game of pool didn't help me as well because he kept on giving me free drinks.
Wow.
He hadn't been beaten in about 7 years, and somehow, I don't know what it was, but somehow I got
cashed in.
I cashed in 100%. So, but yes, that was 2 weeks back to back, and I guess obviously once you come back from schoolies and finishing year 12 and stuff, you kind of go, all right, it's December, January, I've got to get my life in order. You're starting to enroll in uni, and I was still working at I've only had, I think it was 3 or 4 jobs in my life, but this first job I was at was a fish and chip shop. I was still working there, but I'm kind of like, I can't be at a fish and chips. Yeah, exactly right. I was getting...
You're talking to a Kiwi.
I know. Very good at breadcrumbing and battering my New Zealand hokies. So that was our fish of the day for pretty much ever.
Wow.
Fish of the day, New Zealand hokies.
Fish.
So fish and I'm
chips.
not going to try and embark
Fish and
on...
chips, mate.
It was good. It was great, and I still keep in touch with my boss from there. In fact, I work just down the road now, so I go up once a fortnight or whatever, get some fish and chips, which is good. But yeah, I was kind of under the impression, I guess, of I've got to get something else, like another job than what this is, because like $150 or whatever it was a week can't sustain. And this obviously went in at the same time of, as I said before, with uni work and cricket, and obviously one of them had to subside, which my effort levels with cricket was fading away. And yeah, I had applied for a local auction house here on the Gold Coast, thanks to my dad. He gave me the contact of the owner and the CEO, and about a month later, they were kind of skeptical with taking me on board because of the uni and the cricket. But eventually I did, and I was there for about 2 years, which was good. So this was the beginning of 2017.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was. I learned a lot from it. I was obviously quite young at the time, but they kind of filtered me into a sales role, and I honestly loved it, which was good. But yeah, that was 2017, and throughout this time as well, obviously the characteristics, I guess, from the schoolies and the chaos and that kind of thing had propelled, because you're in uni, your first year of uni as well, and it was everything's at your fingertips. It feels that way anyway for a 17-year-old.
You're free.
Yep, you're free to
do whatever you want.
Understanding at the time.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, that was beginning of 17, and throughout this time as well, I'd never really embarked on anything drug related. I just kind of stayed alcohol. And that was it. But yeah, towards the end of 2017, that tide started to turn, because I just wasn't able to withstand peer pressure, and I didn't have a conviction to really rest on, because obviously cricket was out the window. So yeah, it was all in.
Started dabbling.
Right.
And so, tell us about the bad trip.
So it was 6 months of a pretty downward, dark spiral that began just following my birthday, actually, November of 2017. I just turned 18, which was great, because I was the last of my cohort to turn 18. And I remember I was in an Uber home at 11 o'clock of my own birthday party. I got kicked out of my own birthday party.
Dang.
Yeah, not good. But pretty much every weekend following that, I would say I would just involve myself in more, and it was just
every week.
Every weekend.
So Friday,
Saturday, potentially Sunday, I'd rock up to work hungover on Monday. Yeah, and then that would linger into Tuesday, and then by Tuesday afternoon I'd be feeling great. I'm just like, let's do it all again. But yeah, it was just more, and I'm just like, I'm looking for more, and I guess in hindsight, obviously I was looking in the wrong places, but then that took me to I had quite a bad experience at a festival over New Year's in 2017-18, where it was really scary. It was a drug called MDMA, and I was down in Byron, and it was just very, I just felt like I don't think I want to do this again.
Right.
And I obviously came out of that relatively unscathed, but again, I don't want to do this again. Only lasts for so long, and then you're back into it.
God, and all this time, God's not there. God's sort of a thing.
Something that keep it in the back corner. Exactly right.
It's irrelevant.
Still, obviously, talking with Mum and
sure,
and that kind of thing. But then, about 3 months after that, end of March 2018, that's when it got really bad, and I had what I now know as an overdose in a nightclub here on the Gold Coast. And there was a period of the night of about 2 or 3 hours where I literally can't remember, and it was really foreign because I always used to recall the events of what happened. And I can recall the next day I woke up and I was obviously not in the best state, but initially I got the news from a mate who was staying over about the ball tampering scandal. And for those that don't remember, that Steve Smith, David Warner over in South Africa, it was that same morning, and I thought my mind was responding in this way because of that. That's how obviously futile it was. And then I quickly realised within the first 90 minutes that wasn't the case.
Right.
And I had my dad's involved with a surf lifesaving club, and he's the president of the junior association there. So this year in particular I was kind of involved, and he invited me down to the end of season kind of gathering, I guess, which was at Broadbeach Bowls Club, just down the road from church actually. And I can recall that day I was this is obviously the afternoon after the incident the night before, and I was walking up and down the lawn bowls green, and my mind was just, I couldn't actually like control my thoughts. It was just super anxious, fearful. What have I done? I don't want to do this again. And then it progressed that night, which is when I knew it got serious, when I was going to bed, and I started having I guess for the first time in my life, I had the thought that I was going to kill myself, and suicidal thoughts and that kind of thing.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a real shock to my system. And then I started having panic attacks and
was it scary?
Scary, very, very much so. Because I'd always been in control, in a sense, of whatever that looked like in whichever field. And it was really scary. And then the panic attacks.
So you're 19?
I'm 18.
18 at this point?
I'm 18 years.
Wanting to finish it?
Yeah, but like wanting to finish it, but like wondering why I'm wanting to finish it, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like I shouldn't be in this position. I had a good job, great friends, uni degree obviously was going pretty well. I'm like, I was really concerned as to why I got to this point. And it wasn't long after that that thankfully I reached out, obviously as you do in those moments, to your mother. And I called her, and I didn't really go into the depth in terms of what I had done, but I simply just said, I'm not doing that well. And she said, Brady, do me a favour. The next Friday was actually Good Friday of 2018. And she said, go to church. And I'm like, again, the thoughts from childhood come back. I'm like, oh, this is not going to fix my problems.
What's it going to do?
Feels a little bit deeper than that. And anyway, I that week I struggled through.
Did
I can recall.
Say yes, Mum.
I said yes, Mum, I will, because on the phone out the front of my house in where I was staying at the time, she actually prayed for me, and I can recall crying and feeling something that I couldn't really.
Wow, come on!
Oh, what's this? I'm like, oh, this is something I can feel something. It's different to what I was trying to feel in the party.
What? You're in a phone booth?
Oh no, sorry. I'm just on the
phone.
On the phone at the front of my house, literally sitting in my car, and
mum's praying for you.
Mum's praying for me
over the phone.
Over the phone. She's in up north in Yeppoon. I'm down here.
And you're sensing something.
I'm sensing something, and I start to, I guess in a sense, tremble, but not really tremble. It was just like this is something. This is real. Okay. So obviously, from that, as I guess a seed, I followed. And
then she's like, go to church.
She said, go to church. And she'd actually organised with one of our family friends from when she was still down here to meet me at the front to make sure I didn't do a bolter. And then
of the church.
So I said, thanks to Mum for that one. And I went in and sat on the back row, and I couldn't remember what the preacher preached about. But obviously it was a pretty graphic Good Friday message, and I can just recall at the end and just weeping and feeling this same sensation, I guess, again, of this, like, I guess I would call it now as liquid love. And just that, goosebumps, tingles. I know we don't really live off feelings too much, but it's just the encounter.
You can't deny it.
The encounter of, oh my gosh, my life is actually more than what has happened. Wow. Yeah. So that was Good Friday, and I walked out of there.
No, you're by yourself with these family friends.
Because they were serving, so I was just literally.
So you're just literally by yourself.
Yeah.
18 years old.
Mm-hmm.
sitting in the back of a church. Don't know anyone there.
Oh, that maybe from when I was 11 or 12 going with mum, but yeah, not anyone I would say well enough to call a friend, no.
I love this.
I'm glad you do.
No, I do. I'm like, this is my jam. I love this.
It's good.
By yourself, don't know anyone, sit apart from your friends, sitting there, and you're sensing God. You're crying.
I'm crying because I know that
24 hours ago, you were like, man, I'm feeling these really dangerous, dark thoughts. Dark thoughts. Sorry, not feeling them. I'm thinking these very dangerous thoughts. 24 hours later, you're in this place feeling God.
Oh my goodness, you're real.
God is real.
That was my
Not remembering the oratory.
No.
Just the sense that God is calling you. Oh.
Very much so. Very much so. And I walked out of there.
What were the aesthetics of the church? Just
nice. Flashy.
Okay. But that didn't
No.
That wasn't anything for you.
It didn't really deter me. It was more just like I don't think I was even really paying attention to what was going on. It was just like again, my heart's just pounding and going, oh my goodness, you're actually real. And that
wow.
What have I done there? The obviously the end of the message, the pastor says, does anyone want to accept Jesus into their life? And I'm just like, my heart is going at 200 beats per minute. It feels like I'm sweating. I'm just like, if people were to look at me right now, I'd just be like, I'd be some crazy whacked out dude. And I can remember like that simultaneous feeling of putting my hand up and saying like, yes, I do accept him. That's
not knowing what that meant.
Not knowing what that meant, but kind of getting to the point of I don't want my life anymore, so I'm going to give it to someone who does. That was the
wow. I love that.
Say it again. I don't want my life anymore, so I'm going to give it to somebody who does.
Oh. That's real.
So I walked out of there and I thought that was going to be the...
Did you come forward?
No.
Did they ask you to come forward or anything?
Well, it's quite... I wouldn't use the word funny. I just can't think of a better word to use, but quite funny in the sense of everyone who put their hand up that day, which I later found out from our family friend who was serving, everyone who put their hand up that day got a Bible, but I didn't get a Bible.
Oh, wow.
So I walked out of there just kind of going, okay, I've accepted Jesus, but like,
now what?
What now? And okay. I wasn't really in the state to go up to introduce myself to anybody, so I just kind of went home, told Mum what had happened. She's like, yes, this is fantastic. And I thought that doing that was going to flick the switch and my mind would be back to normal.
Everything would be sorted. Right.
But the day following, I started having panic attacks again, and I'm going, what the heck? Like, this was meant to be sorted now, wasn't it? But I just kept on showing up to church. In this time as well, I met Dan Smith, and he was pretty instrumental because my brother and Dan actually got baptized on the same night.
Oh,
about
awesome.
7 or 8 years ago,
Awesome.
so it was cool. But
Ethan.
Yep,
Yeah.
Ethan. So Dan had actually encouraged me to get baptized, which the day he encouraged me to do that, the next day was actually baptism at church. And I went home and I said to my family, I'm like, I'm getting baptized. I'm like, stop, what are you doing? I'm like, no, I've got to do this. They were concerned at the time. It was a phase, it was a fad, it was whatever.
What's your mental state like?
Yeah, exactly right. The people at church should be counselling you to not do this, give it some more time. But I'm like, no, I'm in. And again, it was that same thing of once I go under and come back out, that everything's
sorted.
Yep. But it didn't. And if anything, it got worse.
Wow.
And by worse, like, just to put it in perspective, I mean, daily I'd be waking up and it would just be this thick, dark fog in my mind. And I'm just like, I couldn't, like, it's really hard to describe, but following that would have been, I reckon, about 200 to 300 suicidal thoughts a day. Like, just anything would trigger it.
That's intense.
Literally anything. Yeah,
That's
so
intense.
it was super intense, and
So you're still 18?
still 18.
Yep.
Still 18, still working full
Yep.
time, still. I don't know how it happened, but I was doing well. But I was going to the toilet 3 or 4 times a day in shock and shaking, but no one really saw it other than a close mate that I still keep in touch with.
Yeah.
He kind of knew, and he always kept an eye out for me, which was great. But yeah, again, it just like I was expecting the instant of it's all just going to go, and I'd get back to normal. But that just, yeah, it really wasn't it.
Wow. And wow. So you're still on the Goldie?
Still in the Goldie. Yep.
What's Mum saying?
She was really good in just continually encouraging me to get into the Word, in particular. Started reading the book of the Psalms and John.
Nice.
I guess.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So it was. At the time, it was forcing me to kind of read it, like this is the best thing for you. But then, very quickly, it became okay. I need to do this myself.
Yeah, right.
And in particular, the Book of John, which was instrumental to me, which actually shared the 3 verses from the Book of John in the Testify last year. But I was really busting myself up because I'm like, I feel like I was accumulating so much knowledge about who Jesus was and his plans and promises, and I feel like I could recite 100 promises over and over, but that really wasn't it. And again, I was always going to church on a Sunday to hopefully get prayed for at the front of the church, and eventually everything would just lift, and I did that countless times. I feel like every Sunday I was doing it, and I'd be driving home and I'd just be in tears. I'm like, what the heck, and trying to literally keep the car straight on the M1. It was pretty intense. But I guess throughout this whole process, and obviously the deeper and darker the thoughts got, it pushed me to the Lord, and it pushed me into a deeper place with Him.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, and it was kind of like my only option, in a sense. Like I literally didn't have anything else to turn to anymore.
Wow.
It was God.
So how long was this heavy, thick cloud of blackness?
I would towards December-ish. This is about 9 months on from the incident.
Wow.
And in this time as well, like towards the end of that, I'd actually been to the Awakening conference down in Melbourne.
Yep.
Which was pretty crazy. I didn't really know a lot of the stuff that was going on, but I actually received the gift of the Holy Spirit then, which was amazing. Just I guess allowing that to take me again into a deeper place with God was something in itself. But it wasn't until 2019, which is 9-10 months after that things started to change. But I had intended on just going up on a holiday to visit Mum, and at this time I'll just add context as well. I'd resigned from my job at Lloyd's because my CEO kind of caught wind of what was going on. He was great, and just helped me and kind of parted ways in the best possible way. But so I went up to visit Mum up in Yeppoon, and I just started reading the Bible in 1 year on the YouVersion app for 2019. And I can recall on the 4th or 5th day when I'm trying to figure out what to do with my life. I'm like, where am I going? I can recall Mum saying to me quite vividly on the drive home from the shop, saying, "Why don't you just move up here?" And I'm like, I can't do that. I'm a Gold Coast city boy through and through. I'm not moving to a little country town by the beach and Rockhampton 40 minutes up the road. That's just so far from who I am. And anyway, I was obviously sitting on it for a while, and 24 hours later in this Bible plan, I just started reading Genesis 12, which says, Lord says to Abram, leave your father's family, your native country, and your relatives, which is everything down here, and go to the land that I'll show you. Yeah. And I was out the front of church, and I went into and was just shouting to Mum. I'm like, I'm coming, I'm moving. So I dropped tools down the coast and moved everything, pretty much whole life up to Yeppoon. And this is where it kind of gets like I know God's real at the time, but I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, you're really real with a pretty crazy story. So I just got up, moved up there on the Monday, which was about 8-9 days following when I made the decision.
Nothing lined up for you. Just
No, nothing.
You're just moving.
$200 in my bank account. I'm moving up to Yeppoon because I've read this verse, and I'm trusting God. Like that was my mindset. And I genuinely felt like on the Wednesday night, I genuinely felt like the Lord said to go and visit this golf course the next day. And I'm like,
of course he did.
and I'm like in my mind, I'm like, is this me or is this? But I'm like, I just felt such a like, okay, I've got to do this. Anyway, the next morning, 7 o'clock, I roll out there on the first in. Nobody's there. Just myself and 50 kangaroos. There's someone in the pro shop, obviously, so I get my tee time sorted, but literally nobody's there, and it's a beautiful course. Like, it was ranked 59th best in the country in 2019, so it was
Beautiful.
just picturesque, Capricorn Coast. It was lovely. But after about 6 or 7 holes, I noticed this guy that was coming up quite quickly behind me, and he gets up to me in the 7th hole, I think it was.
And you're not playing that good then.
I wasn't that good then. No, I wasn't great. I could hold my own, but wasn't really good. But anyway, he gets up. He's probably about 55, 60. And I offered him to play through me, which is kind of golf etiquette. I'm not obviously playing that quickly.
Slow.
I'm just enjoying my time because I've literally got nothing else to do. And he says, "Oh, no, we'll play together if that's okay." And I'm like, okay, that's all right. No worries at all. And then, anyway, we played 3 holes together. His name was Ivan. Still keep in touch with him to this day. But,
awesome.
Yeah, we played 3 holes together, and he comes up to me quite closely on the 10th green. We just finished putting. He puts the flag stick in, and he says, "Brady, there's something different about you. What is it?" And I'm like, my heart's just beating, and I'm going, okay, I'm in this spot. I feel like I've followed the voice of the Lord. I'm just going to tell him everything that I know. And I said, I feel like I've moved up here on the off the back of God and Genesis 12 and whatnot. He's like, you wouldn't believe it, Brady. I'm actually a pastor in a church in Rockhampton. And I'm like,
what?
Oh my goodness. And he says, and I don't believe there's any such thing as a coincidence.
Come on.
He's like, I feel like the Lord
jacked this up.
Got us all here. And he said,
did you tell him that you felt God tell him to?
Yeah.
Be on the golf
exactly.
course.
So that was the 10th hole, and we obviously continued chatting until the 18th, which was about an hour and a half later, or whatever it was. But one of the first things he said following that was that you must have a praying mother. And I'm like, man, you don't know my mother from a bar of soap, but you're just, and I'm just at this point, I'm going, okay, I'm in on this thing. Like, there's no turning back now. And I look back on that. I spent 8 months up there.
Yeah.
And it was probably the best 8 months of my life in the sense of I went up there still pretty broken and hurting from...
The fog still there?
The fog...
When you went up there?
When I went up there, definitely.
Heavy? Yeah.
But Ivan actually helped me work through a lot of that, which was cool. And yeah, it was close to kind of... it was probably a couple months in where I'm really starting to grab a hold of this thing. I went up to the pastor at the church up there and said, I'm doing a men's life group. Like, let's just get everyone to just read through the Bible. Like, we're going through 1 John, I think, and then we went through a couple other books, and I'm just like in this kind of honeymoon phase, but it wasn't really honeymoon because I never really got a honeymoon in a sense because it was so heavy. Yeah. But I'm like coming on the other side of this, and those 3 scriptures that I mentioned in the Testify about in the book of John 8:32, you'll know the truth and the truth will set you free. Yeah. John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and life. Yeah. No one comes to the Father except from me. And then 17:3 where he says, and this is eternal life, that you might know the Father. Like those 3 verses, I was like, I literally had them up on my wall. And I'm like, what is this? And it was like truth. Truth is a person in Jesus, and that becoming real to me. Right. And like knowing Jesus personally. Yeah. Actually was like light bulb. Wow. And it wasn't someone praying for me. It wasn't casting a spirit out. It wasn't doing anything like that. It was literally knowing the truth, and then I was free. And that was, looking back at it now, it was a real time of like, I just became whole as a person. Wow. When I came back down here, like a lot of people, obviously old friends and stuff, would comment on it saying like, you're like actually different now. And yeah, I feel like it was just such a time of foundation and really just
that wasn't that long ago, really.
No, in the grand scheme of
that
life,
was 2019. You moved back down.
Yeah. So in the grand scheme of life, obviously not that long ago. It feels like an age ago.
Yeah, it does. It does feel like a long time ago.
Yeah,
even for me.
Yeah, and it's obviously been a couple of years now back down here. So in fact, I think tomorrow or something is the
feels
the
like a lot longer.
It does feel that way, which is
amazing.
But yeah, it was obviously I came back down, and the first Sunday was at Father's Day at Chapel 2019, and then found, I guess, home in a sense.
This is your third year at Chapel.
Yeah, coming just number
2019 to 20. Oh no, your second year.
Second year coming into the third year.
Yeah.
Following.
Wow.
Next month. So yeah, it's good. It's good.
Super love the process. Like that inspires me. How you were wanting the quick fix. I don't know if that's a generation thing, but come on, pray for it. And certainly had testimony of God
doing that.
Like doing that.
Exactly. Yeah, but I kind of look back at it now, and I'm definitely not by any means saying that God inflicted this, but I'm
you chose it.
Yeah, I'm of the view that if it was to ease or get any better anytime sooner, that I would have just gone back and resumed business as usual, and that'd be in a worse spot now than
I get you.
Would have, could have been. So it's just, and it's so orderly and timely in terms of how things happen.
Love it. He's just guided you every step of the way.
Exactly.
Love that.
And I'm like, what's a couple of weeks to us compared to him? Like, he's obviously
God.
He's God.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's I think we can definitely overcomplicate things far too much, and the simpler I have kept it, I've noticed it's I wouldn't say easy, but it feels seamless in a sense. You're not striving to oh God, like, where are you? It's just like, no, just come underneath him. It's good.
I love it. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. I always enjoy talking to you anyway. Likewise. It's brilliant. Just the hand of God in your life in an increasing measure from what I've seen. I didn't know you before you went up to Yeppoon.
No.
But ever since I've met you, you're an impressive young man.
Smash.
I just love it. I just love, God doing a work in your life, and
good.
Yeah, I love your enthusiasm. Love your passion. And thanks for sharing those vulnerable years.
That's good.
Well, year I should say. Year and a bit.
Yeah.
And because that's very real for young people.
Very much
especially in this drug
infused
flesh culture. So, Jesus is the answer. But
not a quick fix, Jesus.
Not the quick fix. Yeah, it's just allow him, I suppose you're saying, allow him to work. Trust him and trust his steps.
I think another passage just to finish with in that John 15, obviously, where he's talking about trimming and cutting off the branches that don't produce fruit. It's just like just getting yourself in that state of being on the being a part of that.
Nice.
And allowing him to chop off the parts.
Nice.
And I think in Isaiah it says the potter's wheel, and how it's like it's just he's molding and shaping into something that doesn't happen like that as much as I have seen it, and I would love it to happen frequently. I'm just he loves order and process. Yeah. I think as much as he loves the instant. Yeah.
And that's what makes him so personal, because he knows you. He knows what you need.
Trust.
Mate, thanks for sharing.
Thanks for having me.
Love your heart. Love what you're doing. And go for it, mate.
Thanks, Marsh. Appreciate it.